Welcome everybody. My name is Larry Williams, and I'm really excited to welcome you to the CARMA 10th Year Celebration webcast that's being provided to you by the Center for the Advancement of Research Methods and Analysis, or CARMA, at Virginia Commonwealth University, where I am the Director of CARMA and also the University Professor of Management. In terms of the goal of this presentation, first of all, it will be a relatively short presentation, and basically what I want to try to share with you is who we are and what we've done. Give you some information on the history. Many of you may have heard this or that about CARMA over the years. This is our 10th year. We've never really tied it all together in one place to tell our story, and this is what we want to do in this special celebration webcast. What you're going to see are a lot of names and some pictures, and that is really appropriate because when it's all said and done, CARMA is about people. And we are been defined by the quality of the scholars who have given of their times and their busy schedules to come and share their work with us over the years. And basically the main purpose of this presentation is to recognize and express our appreciation. CARMA does provide program and events for graduate students and faculty. We're basically devoted to continuing education in various areas of research methods and data analysis relevant to the social and organizational sciences. The rationale for establishing CARMA. It was not the case that I just thought that it was a cool set of letters and I had to figure out something to do. It was more systematic than that. And basically, I'd been involved in many years with the Research Methods Division, and from that, I really developed a service orientation, thinking about what is it that methodologists can do to share their work and meet the needs of substantive researchers. And I came to believe that some of those needs just could not be met by an entity like the Research Methods Division. I love it. I love the people that are a part of it. It's great, but when it's all said and done, there are just basic limits. So, for example, although I did a lot of workshops over the years at the Academy of Management for the Research Methods Division, you could never do them where there were computers available. And I really believe very strongly that if you're going to learn something, you need to get some hands-on experience. Also, I had this sense that to do what needed to be done, I was going to need more types of technological expertise than what could exist within the resources of a division of a broader academic organization. So that's really where it came about. So I've kind of grouped this into the early years, the middle years, and then we'll be moving towards looking at things for what we've got planned for this year. In 1998, we had our first mini-conference, and this mini-conference consisted of a workshop and basically a series of one-hour lectures. And I was very lucky to have Paul Bleasy, Mark Gavin, David Harrison, Bob Vandenberg, Larry James, Rich Klomoski, Karen Locke, Neil Schmidt, and Jeff Edwards come and contribute to that effort. And it was a great success. Unfortunately, we don't have good documentation about exactly how many students and faculty came, but we had many of them, in many instances, coming great distance to spend a couple of days with us. The following summer, we did the same thing and brought in some new people. You'll see some names that are constant across the years and some names that change as well. And Don Forsyth and Mike Lindell were new contributors. John Neslek and Phil Bobko and Jose Cortina contributed. And also one thing we added in '99 was we added panel sessions. I kind of had this idea, gosh, if we got all these great speakers together, in addition to have them give lectures, let's bring them together and have them serve as a panel and talk about career and publishing kinds of issues. Into the year 2000, we did it again. Mike McDaniel, one of my colleagues here, joined, was very, I had this idea, well, wouldn't it be cool to bring in some methodologists from outside in the mainstream IO-OBHR area, and was just thrilled that David Kinney could come. Herman McGinnis came. Actually, they got connected at a party at our house that led to a book that Herman wrote for David. Rick Deshawn came from Michigan State, Chuck Lance, Phil Roth, and again Paul Bleasy. Similar type of format. But also in that summer I did the first short course. This idea that let's take a particular topic. The mini conferences had presenters talking about different topics, but I had this idea that it would be value to provide some in-depth instruction, and particularly in conjunction with the use of the computer labs. And so the short courses were born, and I was very lucky to get Neil Schmidt come down and contribute. In 2001, we did another mini conference in terms of people who hadn't participated before. Fritz Draskow came over from Illinois. David Kaplan is kind of like Dave Kinney. Dave Kaplan is a world-class educational methodologist who came down from Delaware to contribute. Craig Russell and Eugene Stone Romero were new contributors, and Paul Hanges. I think that may have been Paul Hanges' first time. Workshop lectures and panel sessions, and again, then we did our short course with Neil and I. I should also point out that in addition to the mini conference and the short courses, we did bring in people from outside during the year to give presentations. Jose did that, David Hoffman. Jack McCardle is, you may be, if you're an SEM person, you may know of Jack's outstanding work over the years. He made the short trip from Charlottesville over. Chet Schriesheim, a much longer trip from Miami. Abigail Panter from Chapel Hill is a very prominent quantitative psychologist. And Jeff Stanton as well. So that's kind of was our early beginnings, if you will. We now put it into what we're calling the middle years. In 2002 through May 2004, we did more mini conferences. Chick Judd, you may be familiar with, he's a social psychologist that has done a lot of great methodological work. David Crackhart was his first visit there. He, you probably know, is a social networks expert. We were really very pleased to have Steve West from Arizona State, who at the time was the editor of Psychological Methods. Mike Neal made the short trip from the medical campus here at VCU, where he's in the Department of Psychiatry. And Phil and Don and Mark Gavin, you've seen them before. And we took the leap then in going from one short course to 5. And we added advanced SEM and internet data collection and meta-analysis and multi-level analysis. And in addition to Neil, I somehow was able to persuade Jeff and Bob to yet make more contributions to CARMA. We also brought in Greg Hancock. Greg is educationally based up at the University of Maryland. He is an outstanding SEM person. And the others were the same ones from before. In 2004, we basically repeated those series of same 5 short courses, by and large with the same presenters. I think from my records, that is the first time that Hannah Rothstein joined us in doing her contribution to the meta-analysis short course. During the year, we were also lucky to get Rob Ployhart and also Howard Weiss to come and give talks. So that's kind of the background, if you will, that sets us up to 2004 and 2005. And you'll see that I have technology with an exclamation point. And basically, I was getting frustrated because the bottom line was when I invited all of these people into the mini conferences, and I would cover all of their expenses. And it was frustrating because we'd have such a great group of people here, but it was understandably difficult for them, people, particularly doctoral students who are already going to multiple conferences, to find the money to get their way here. So it's kind of like, oh, I got to find a way to share what these people are doing with the broader audience. And it was like, well, duh, let's use the internet. So I had this idea, and we did it for the first time. We called it a webcast assembly, an assembly in part to characterize that it was a vehicle for people bringing together to learn about research methods. And I had the idea that it would be good to focus them. So our first one was on testing interactions. And I was very lucky to get 3 people who had already made numerous contributions to CARMA to come and sit in the very chair that I am in and basically try something that had never been done before. And since I also another point that's important about understanding our history is that, we did have concerns about the limits of the technology and how many individual logins, if you will, we could support at any one point in time. And so because of that, we came up with this model of a university membership, and such that that way we would limit the number of live links to any webcast. And at those schools, people could invite in as many people as they wanted in that common room to watch it. It provided a limit on our demands here and also had the benefit of bringing people together. At the Academy booth this summer, I had somebody from a university walk by and said how thankful they were for our webcast program, because every lecture was one of the few times during the year when all of the doctoral students got together. So I saw this benefit of bringing people together and building community, which was sort of interest to me. But I didn't want to commit to charging for it if I wasn't sure that it was going to work. So basically I was able to find some funding, thankfully here on campus through the Department of Health Administration in exchange for some work that I was doing. And we had 28 universities that participated. And I was able to dig back through and find a picture that was taken sitting at the booth that I'm at now, directly after that first webcast in the fall of '04. And you can see that's Larry James, Herman McGinnis, and Jeff Edwards. And that's me. So that was a success, so we decided to do it again in the spring. And our theme that year was levels of analysis. And we had James LeBreton and David Hoffman and Bob Vandenberg talk about topics related to levels of analysis issues. And you can see that even though there was only a couple of months that intervened that gave us time to promote our success, we were very thankful that we had 51 universities that participated, again free of charge. Well, it was about that time that my money ran out. And so I had to figure out, I knew that I was on to something that would work, and I had to figure out a way to do it, and hence the idea of the consortium webcast program, where universities would contribute money to join the program. And I was able to talk this very good group of presenters that talked about a variety of topics. You can see their names, and more information is provided on the websites. Gilad Hin, Brian Boyd, Claudia Cogleiser, Dan Dalton, Jeff Edwards, Eugene Stone Romero, J. Miles Shaver, Dan Brass, John Hollenbeck, and Kevin Murphy. I was able to persuade all of them to come in during that year, seeking for kind of a balance between micro and macro topics and between OBHR and strategy topics. And we had 54 schools that paid the money to join. And we also conceived from the beginning the advantages of linking our short courses, and I'll explain that in a minute. We repeated in '06 and '07 with Dave Harrison, Bill Starbuck, Jeff Stanton, Steve Rogelberg, Michelle Gelfin, Catherine Klein, Neil Schmidt, Rob Ployhart, Bob Vandenberg, and Jorge Mendoza. And due to the success of our first year, our membership jumped up to 122. Last year, we had Jose back again. Again, part of the reason I want to go over these names is because you see that there's a group of people that have been coming again and again to CARMA and sharing of their expertise. And Jose and James and Paul, they are repeaters at that point. Peter Hom, Larry James, was very excited to get Roger Millsap from Arizona State. Paul Sackett, Don Berg, and Mike Pratt. These were the 10 webcast presenters during the 07-08 program, and we had 127 schools. Just to kind of give you a summary then, I should have mentioned that in addition to those live webcasts, a key part of the consortium program are the recordings. Because within a few days after the live webcast, Richard and his partner David will have recordings available in our video library. And so that when a school joins, as hopefully you know, not only do they get access to the live webcast, but after that point, any faculty or student at that university has unlimited access to those recordings and the PowerPoint slides. They can watch them whenever they want and as many times as they want. So the webcast program really includes both of those components. So if we try to take a look at what we've done over 04 to 08, as it turns out, we've had 180 different member schools that have participated at one point or another over those 4 years. Evandro, who you'll all say more about later, has set it up so that we can track those video requests, so that when somebody makes a request to watch one of our videos, we know who it is. We also know where they're at, when they did it, and what the IP address was of the computer that they were working on. We've had over 1,200 different individuals make requests during that 4-year period. Finally, for those 1,200 people, we can also keep track of how many requests that they make. And so over the years then, over the 4-year period, there have been over 8,000 requests to watch the recordings that are in our video library. And we're particularly proud and excited about the fact that our presenters have included current or past editors of every major journal in management or IO Psych. Journal of Applied Psych, AMJ, Personnel Psych, OBHDP, Administrative Science, Journal of Management, Organizational Research Methods. We're very thankful for that. I did dig through the files to just give you a flavor of some of the people. Again, we are about the people. So this was a picture that was taken. That's Jeff Stanton and Michelle Gelfin and Steve Rogelberg from the webcast that they did. This was one where we have Paul Hanges and Peter Hom. I think I got another one here recently. This is Don Berg and Paul Sackett and Paul Bleesey. Again, we have in our records, I think, pictures of every webcast presenter, but I knew I couldn't take the time to do that. But I kind of wanted to summarize it as best I could and help make the people be more salient, because we couldn't do what we do without their contributions. I talked to you some about our short course program up to 2004. That continued through the years 2005 through 2008. And you can see that as an example of how crazy I am, I just kept wanting more and more and more. So we before had 5 courses. In 2005, we went to 8. 2006, we went to 9. 2007, we went to 10. And last spring, we had 13 of them. Our records show then that during this period, we had 52 courses with over 850 participants. To give you a flavor of the topics that we've added network analysis, longitudinal analysis, introduction to linear regression, nonlinear dynamic models, testing interactions, analysis of congruence models, and grounded theory. And here's just some pictures of our presenters. That's Rob Ployhart. You've already seen Paul Bleesey. That's Jose, Paul Hanges, and Mike McDaniel. That was taken from last spring in our new building. This was taken before. This is Karen Locke and Hannah Rothstein, and Karen Mitchell helped me out with the SEM courses. I don't think you've seen Jeff. That's Jeff Edwards, Jeff Stanton, Steve Brigatti, and Herman McGinnis, who you've seen. And we also have some action shots, if you will, from last spring's webcast short course program. Again, we hosted it in our new business building, which we were very happy about. This is Steve Brigatti talking about network analysis. You notice that people are working on their laptops. This last spring, we made the move so that instead of using a computer lab, everybody brought laptops to do their work. This is a picture of Herman McGinnis's class on testing interactions. Jeff Edwards is standing there pointing out information related to the one he did on different scores and congruence models. And I happen to catch Karen smiling, not that she doesn't smile regularly, but in the midst of her qualitative short course. So that's aimed at just, again, trying to get a balance of pictures so you can see people, maybe some of whom some of you have not met, but more importantly for me, just to draw attention to how much we have benefited from the contributions of people like the ones that you've seen. For this year, we've got our webcast program and we've got our summer short courses. In terms of the presenters we have lined up, we've got Herman McGinnis and Adam Mead and Howard Weiss and Dan Ganster. Peter Westphal comes more out of the information systems area. We're very excited to have him coming in. Karen's going to participate again. Jonathan Doe from the strategy area. Lori Weingart, we're very excited to have Lori here. Jeffrey Ruhr is coming, and we're pleased to have Mike Burke joining us as well. Let me emphasize to you, since I'm on this page, that our next webcast is September 26th. That'll be 2 weeks from now. As of at this point, we're already up to 121 consortium member schools, and of course it's not too late to join, so if you've enjoyed what you've seen and benefited, spread the word. Again, we put all of these lectures in the video library. So right now, if you go to our video library, we have 36 lectures that are available. By the end of the year, we'll have 47. Mine from today plus the other 10. And again, if you're out there and you're a member of a consortium school, you have access to that at no charge. You do have to register as a CARMA website user. That's a very easy step. We're working on a video that we hope to have up within the next 2 weeks that'll walk you step by step how to do that. And again, I want to emphasize that once your school joins, there is no fee to you as an individual faculty or student to watch the live webcast, or more importantly, access those video library recordings. We're learning that that schools are assigning those recordings as part of their instruction. So you may be at a school that's doing this, where whoever is teaching your research methods class, instead of assigning a chapter, they will assign the students to watch a recording on a particular topic. And they can do so knowing, assuming their school has joined the consortium, that there's no charge for doing that. 13 wasn't enough, so we've decided to shoot for 16 short courses. We've identified May 11th the 13th and the 14th the 16th. These are held here at VCU. There's no webcast. Each of them is 50% lecture and 50% lab. And I think one of the reasons we've enjoyed the success that we've had is because if you're at a consortium school, you get a 50% discount on the registration fees. There is an additional registration fee for the short courses. It's not like the webcast program. And the fee for next spring will be $375 for faculty and $275 for the student. Advanced registration begins December 1st, and we're going to be putting some more information out to you. In terms of the lineup, we're going to be covering nonlinear dynamic models, intro SEM, longitudinal research, multi-level, introductory regression again. We're very excited to have Mike Pratt doing a new one for us on ethnographic methods, and also one by Thomas Greckhamer on qualitative comparative analysis. We're trying to add more macro courses and more qualitative courses to our offerings. We'll be doing meta-analysis again. We've got advanced SEM, network analysis. Herman's coming back yet again to do interactions. Jeff Stanton here from the beginning on internet survey methods. Jeff Edwards, grounded theory. And we're hoping to add 2 more. I haven't quite finalized the instructors for that. We're wanting to do one on measurement and levels of analysis. A tentative title is Measuring Group Level Variables, and also something on regression with limited dependent variables. As I close, you know, in addition to all of the presenters, I can't thank enough the people that work behind the scenes for me. You met Richard, who was in here earlier as I baited him in. And David Moorfield is his partner. They have both been working with us from the beginning, and they are great. And their department, VCU Media Support Services, has just been very good to us. I have 4 assistant directors now: Jenny Burnett, Angela Edwards, Ivando Moreno, and Suhasini Pashakanti. They do different things for me, but I tell you, we not only get our work done, but we have a lot of fun, and I'm grateful for those people. We do depend upon the contacts. When a school joins a consortium, they identify an academic contact whose purpose is to help us disseminate information, and a technical contact whose purpose is to help us with the setup and the lab arrangements. And we are so dependent. I mean, our stuff goes out, and we count on these people to take care of things at their location. And of course, we're always grateful for the viewing audience that supports what we're doing. So special thanks then to the CARMA staff. This is a picture that we took at one of our favorite places where we have our receptions, Picola's. Special thanks to Christina and Saul and Joe and Rick at Picola's. That's Ivandro and Suhasini and Angela. And also, since we're celebrating to a large degree the Webcast program, this was a picture of this taken at almost the same time. This was about a half hour after the other picture that you saw that shows Jeff and Larry and Herman a little bit more relaxed, and I've even got my tie off. And since this is a celebration webcast, then I'll just close by thanking everybody again for all the support that they provide. Herman's going to be here in 2 weeks. I think if he were here, he would say cheers, and I say the same back to you, and thank you, and let us know what we can do to better serve you. And have a great day. Hopefully see you in a couple of weeks.